Hi,
Hi everyone. You're listening to Aki Tudora. I'm June.
and I'm Matt. Once again.
Yes. Okay.
So
So
last week we were talking about Malaysia versus Germany architecture education,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
surprisingly, both of us had lots of stuff to talk about, to say, and in the end we decided to continue on to episode 2
Mm-hmm.
because we still have things to say anyway. So this is episode 2, Attack of
Mm-hmm.
Malaysia, if you know what I mean.
Okay, but we got like comments from and feedback from like listeners from our friends, so we can actually discuss about like what they told us as well.
Yeah, so
Okay, but before that, we just continue like okay. So what are we gonna talk about?
so basically, if you did listen to our podcast last week, and if you didn't, then just find it and please go and listen. We didn't really have much plan on bashing Malaysia so much, but in the end we did.
It just come out like
Yeah,
what
it
we
just came
thought.
out, and basically, it is actually just kind of what we were thinking on the top of our heads at the time. So we thought this time we will try to make it more organized, and we try to give some maybe more good points about studying in Malaysia because
Mm,
actually, truth be told, at the end, I didn't really regret studying in Malaysia. So
mm.
I mean, there are of course reasons of studying in Malaysia. So so we were talking about this good points of Malaysia. Um,
I mean, it's not like purposely want to find for good points, but it's just that maybe it's not bad that you study in Malaysia. I mean, architecture is in Malaysia. It's just that the syllabus and the experience is different. But this experience is not bad or good. It's just like personal preference.
yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So I mean, it's just for us that it's like anyway, we go to the points and I get back to this. Anyway.
okay, okay.
So basically, my strongest point is that, but I have to give you a bit of a backstory first,
Mm,
because I didn't mention this last time.
mm,
Basically, before I took my bachelor's, I took a diploma in architecture. It's not
mm,
because my grades was not good and I had to take diploma first before I take bachelor's, but it's actually basically I was just stupid and I just didn't know about how the system works. I actually thought that I actually thought diploma was
mm-hmm.
already. I mean, it's the same thing anyway. Getting off topic, but basically I went to Tar College to take my
Your
diploma.
diploma.
Yeah,
Okay.
and at the time it was a new course. We were the first ever batch, and so we were lab rats basically. And before the architecture course, Tar College was actually quite rapid. It was quite a reputable college for the building course. So basically, their architecture syllabus, which was fed to us at the time, uh, it was basically an adjusted version of their building course. So rather than involving a lot of design, especially at the starting, it
Mm.
was more towards like practical works. Like we had to learn how to make cement and all those
Mm.
stuff that normally you don't
Like
really
trying
learn
out
in
like
architecture. Yeah,
building materials. Okay.
yeah, but it's not just learning about it. We actually had to go and make the cement. We had to go and test it. We learned all these things, but in the end, well, yeah. So what I want to say is that I mean, in the end, all these practical things is actually kind of I would say it's better for working under someone. So let's say you don't really plan to become an architect who works independently or become a
Mm.
boss of employers. Being an em- sorry, yeah, being an employer would be actually better to study through these practical things because, I mean, in my first internship, I was
Mm.
there for right after Tar College. They were saying actually that my boss was telling me that he prefers people from Tar College because they actually know what they're doing. They know about building construction and building all these detailed drawings and whatnot, and he actually needs people like this compared to like he actually mentioned people from tailors that don't even know how to draw proper floor plans because they were more design based. So I mean, this is actually kind of a good thing in a way if you prefer to do drawings, I guess.
I mean, you still need to know the basics, like how to draw a plan, understandable plan or detailed drawing.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
When you start working, so this is like the fundamentals thing before you enter the reality world of architecture.
Yeah, I mean,
Other than
even if
just
you have very
designing,
good
yeah.
design, if you can't convey your message with this, but basically through drawings, it's going to be a problem. But I mean, in the end, construction drawings is a bit different from architecture drawings.
Yeah.
So that's where the difference comes in. Yeah. So how about you, Jun? What do you think is good about studying? Do you enjoy actually studying in Malaysia?
To be honest, I mean, I didn't make my diploma, but I straight away get into my bachelor's of architecture. So, um, in the bachelor semesters, starting, I feel like there are students from the foundation before they get into the bachelor course, but I'm straight away from my UEC and get into bachelor. So I would say I have no knowledge about no basics about what architecture was at that time. So in the end, like starting the projects, they want us to like do drawings or do like not too difficult drawings, or I mean, what to say, complex drawing, but it's just a small design training. But I would say my outcome and students that gone through foundation, that's like a bit of difference, definitely. So in the first two semester, I struggled a bit for my own self because I wasn't doing a good progress at that time. But slightly I found out that the teaching of like the um, lecturers or even like part-time architects, they actually trying to give you a better um, experience or teaching method than just doing design, but you also do like practical stuff and make you more exposed to the real architecture world and just in your own fantasy at that time as a new architecture approacher. So as in tailors, maybe lecturers are quite fond to the lecturers in tailors. Actually they actually they have passion in teaching architecture wise in even though they might not even working in a real architecture field or development or construction or designing, but they just started off as a lecturer and teaches the student of what they learned in back then in their studies as well. So they might not even have the practicality knowledge to teach us. So I find that it's also a good experience for student like me because I purely like accept um, the teaching experience from them. So this is what I thought at a starting stage of being an architecture student at that time. But later on,
where I'm just curious myself, like where did they study? I mean, your lecturers.
for example, one was like from what's that school? I
Which
mean,
is University Malaya, yeah.
use Malaysia and also like Melbourne U or Australia or even from UK. So I mean, definitely from we know about like students from like University Malaysia, their syllabus is already different from the Melbourne U or even the Australia or UK,
Yeah, definitely.
because different culture, different syllabus. But the approach also, that's why the teaching approach was so different. Was like so they start to teach you according, oh, you should design not only just because you want to do this or what, but you should also think of how you can do it, how do you construct them in real life. But in like other countries other than Malaysia, the lecturers, they are like, Yeah, the user experience, why you should the flow, the circulation, and then the site context, how it works in all these kind of different criteria, like integrate together, and then come up with a design that you thought of. So I would say they have balance in the school that I've studied of. So this is what I thought about
Mm-hmm.
studying in Malaysia. Actually, it's not too bad. I mean, it's not too bad or not too good. It's just my personal preference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now that you mentioned about UM, I wonder whether I can find a person who studied in UM to come and talk to us.
Yeah. Maybe in future we can find
Yeah,
someone to
I'll
talk with
try.
us.
I'll
Yeah.
try to do that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I mean, in the end, like, do you prefer to study in Malaysia or Germany?
Wow. Good questions. Um, I would say, uh, it's good that I did my bachelor in Malaysia, and after that follow up I do my masters in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say I have a strong foundation in architecture wise. Not just, I mean, maybe not theory or design, creativity but once I reach Germany, I have this kind of foundation that actually um, helps me in doing like real architecture or more imagination, or more different background of architecture back in Asia country like Malaysia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I, st- I still couldn't give you a good answer like which one I would prefer, but I would
Yeah.
say, I really like think that studying in Malaysia is a good step for me to move on to study on in other countries like Europe or US or Australia. I'm not sure about like the US or
So
the
in the end,
Australia.
you're like just you're happy with how things happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what about you? So,
Actually, I actually been thinking about this a lot, but in the end, it's like I think it's mostly because I have a huge bias on about living in Malaysia itself that
mm,
I think that's the biggest thing for me. That like I'm just too used to Malaysia. I really like living in Malaysia. So,
yeah, true. I
but if
mean,
I
okay.
try to push that out, I think that
It's not your, yeah, you shouldn't think of like just leaving, but just
yeah,
that's
but I mean it's a whole thing. Like my whole experience as a student studying in Malaysia,
mm,
it was nice in the end because I think the nice parts of it cancel out the bad parts. But if I just think about like just the studies, because I mean coming to Germany, I don't speak German.
oh,
It was really hard here, and that kind of, I mean, that cancels out the good parts of. So in the end, it's kind of balanced. Like there are good and bad things here and there, but when I really think about it, like if it's just purely education, I think I really prefer Germany because
Germany.
I mean throughout the whole my studies in Malaysia, like after my diploma, I actually I actually kind of gave up in architecture for a while. I actually wanted to quit architecture and like do something else.
Mm-hmm.
But there was uh, there was actually just one building that made me start studying again, which is
Motivate you again, yeah.
which is the PJ Trade Center by Kevin Marlowe.
Mm,
Yeah, I really like that building a lot, and it actually kind of motivates me to continue studying. Then I went to UCSI, which is for my bachelor's, and after my bachelor's, I actually had that feeling again that I really don't want to study anymore. This is so depressing. Although I mean there are good things. I learned stuff that's very practical. I mean in the end, it's good for me to work under someone, which I did for 2 years. But in the end, I decided to study again because I somehow just got some opportunity to study in Germany.
yeah.
But when I came here, I feel that the things I learned about architecture is just it changed how I view architecture. Rather than in Malaysia, I'm just learning how to do
How
stuff.
to?
Yeah, but I mean that's not a bad thing because in the end I know how to do stuff, and even when I came here, I know how to do it, but it didn't change my view on architecture. Most of it is something that I found by myself, like when I went to visit PJ Trade Center. But when I study here in Germany, I actually have that. My whole view on architecture has changed, kind of. Yeah, so
Like how? Like how? In what way?
Like, I mean, I feel that in the architecture world, it's so much more than just you build this thing to make it like it's nice. It's not just
usable, livable, but
yeah, it's not just about that. I feel it's like now I have that after going through all of my, because I mean my thesis was by our wonderful theory professor, and so he gave me lots of theories and lots of reading, and through all this I start to think so much more about what architecture can do for the whole society, not only just like I build this building and this building looks nice in that place, that was what I was thinking of last time. But now after coming here, I have a different feeling on this, and what I want to do is also has been changed.
I mean, because you have a professor which is so theoretical based.
I mean, in the
as
way,
we know,
but I mean, I think it kind of suits me because I like all this. I kind of like philosophy, so yeah.
So I mean, that's a good news. So maybe in future you can actually share us like what he told you guys, or
I can share all the readings to you. You can go and read by yourself.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
But anyway. So other than that point, another point is, well, we were talking about how the workload is crazy in Malaysia and became to Germany is more chill. I guess if you think about it, I mean, giving you tons of workload is actually a good thing. It's actually not a bad thing,
Back in bachelor or before master.
Yeah, the thing is, if you have a lot of things to do, you learn faster compared to if you're very chill. But obviously, if you're chill, you feel more happy. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on you because I mean, I have a classmate. No, I mean someone studying in Germany as well. Daryl.
Okay.
Actually, I shouldn't say his name. Oops. But anyway, I feel that I think he once told me that he prefers the hard work. He likes the hard work because he learns more, which is actually very true, and I actually really admire him for that.
For that attitude.
Yeah, that attitude. Yeah. Because I mean, if people give you more work, you tend to do more work, and you will learn.
If you
more.
face problem and you just try to like find for solution how it works. So in the process, you actually learn more than you just
exactly
have less tasks or less work to do. So, but maybe it's just different from the education way is just different.
In the end, it depends on how people, because I mean some people only work when the pressure is put on them, so that's also another way to, I mean, could be another good reason of studying in a high pressure place. But I personally don't work well under pressure. When I have too much pressure, I start to not do work.
So because no one push you, no one like let ask you.
No. The thing is, maybe I'm just a bit rebellious. But when people push me too much, I tend to not do their work. I feel like I don't want to follow them. I don't want to listen to them.
So yeah, that kind of person.
Yeah. So like over here, I mean, there are some that's really pressuring. I think like Fact Studio was actually quite pressuring, if I'm not mistaken. Like they need you to come up with new things every single week, kind of thing.
True, but I do enjoy at that in that semester as well. I really enjoy working with them.
That's why I say. I mean, it's not like
Yeah,
it's a bad
but it's not
thing
that they
that people
push you, but
pressure.
because the program that the brief that they provide is so, I find that it's very interesting that it pushed me to work more. I really enjoy the process of doing keep doing the task that they gave us, because I learned from that point. So maybe it's also depends on the lecturer or the architects that give you what they want to share with you. Is that does that interest you or not? So yeah, so that's what I thought of.
Yeah, but
Okay.
maybe I'm just too rebellious for this. But basically, when I
Yeah.
was here, like they just keep they people here kind of encourage me to work more.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in the end, I actually feel that I work more here, even when I'm less pressured for some reason.
So the conclusion, I think, is like it's so personal that it's not it's either Malaysia good or in Germany is better. So it depends,
Yeah.
like how you view about your education with architecture, I
Mm-hmm.
would say. Yeah.
And yeah,
So
so
but
yeah, it really depends on
mhm,
how you work and how you think about how architecture is and whatnot. What you
mm,
actually expect to get in the end of your in the end of studying. Because truth be told, like after studying here for 2 years for my masters, I actually felt that when I really think about it, what I learned here, it doesn't help me at all to work under someone. Like,
oh,
I mean, compared to uh
back in
like
Malaysia.
yeah, compared to back in Malaysia, like if I just bring this knowledge and go back to Malaysia and work under the same company I worked as in last time, I don't think
Probably
there.
would.
Yeah, I don't think there will be a difference to what I'm doing. So yeah.
Mm,
So
yeah, yeah,
once
yeah.
again, we've been
Mm-hmm.
talking quite a lot, and I didn't even notice it's actually time to end this whole podcast again.
Yeah.
So
So okay, so we have a good conversation today. It was great with
yeah,
this topic, and we were open for more comments and feedback
yeah. Actually,
from
we
you guys.
forgot to talk about the comments of the
Yeah,
people. Maybe next
yeah,
time. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe in the next time. Okay.
So
So
we'll
any more to
find.
add on?
I don't think we should continue with. Maybe we should just try to find another topic to talk about next week, and
Yes, yes.
maybe one point in time, maybe after our thinking change or something, that we can come back to this topic once again.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, next week will be a different topic,
Topic.
and yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be here next week again.
And so stay tuned, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, and yeah,
Okay.
do like whether it's
Us
the
and
YouTube
yeah,
video or
or
anything
Spotify
like
on Google
Spotify.
Podcasts.
Yeah,
Just follow
and
us, and we will do more
yeah, we try
topics.
to talk
Yeah.
about this more. Yeah,
Okay. So
right.
bye,
Bye,
guys.
and
Do, 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 do.
best ending ever.
Okay. Okay.